Okay, so this is an example of this next art challenge that we have coming up. And here we have, I'm gonna move a little closer here. These are contour drawings of leaves that I collected out in my backyard. I'm gonna zoom up a little bit. And these are the original leaves over here. So you can do a couple of different things. You could arrange the leaves into a composition, kind of like you see on this page, and then you could draw them as you see them, or you could just draw each one individually. So this is an example of an art challenge for at home. What I did is I went into my backyard and I did several contour drawings of all of the different kinds of leaves that I found. I decided I was going to do it in a pattern. And so these are the leaves right here. So you see, I actually did not draw them to scale. So this this big guy right here, that's this leaf down here. And where's the little baby one? This little baby one right here is this one over here. And drew them sort of fitting them together just how they fit nicely on the page. Got inspired by this artist off Instagram who is doing these great pieces, who is taking and using reds, pinks, and oranges to draw the veins and the outlines of trees and leaves, and then painting in some of the beautiful grains. And we know from color theory that those are complementary, split complementary, or if you just want to go with more opposite colors on the color wheel, and it really provides some nice contrast to that. So this is the beginning of this project, is to gather up your leaves and then to do some really great observational contour drawings of them. You can do them, try them blind, try them modified, whichever one kind of comes out the best. Set up an actual composition over here. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to emulate this composition. Okay, and so let's see. Deciding, I think I'm going to go with maybe some more muted colors for the larger leaves. And this is a contour drawing. So a contour drawing is, I am not going to pick that pen up off the paper at all. And I am just trying to trace what I see, and if I have to trace back over my lines, that's okay. And just using the side of this to sometimes make the lines thicker and sometimes make them thinner. And now just still not really picking up that pen or pencil, or in this case this is actually an oil pastel, from the page, but coming back and just describing some of these little veins that I see. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that with each of the leaves.
I've sped up the clip here so that you can see the drawing as it happens a little bit faster. But I do want to encourage you that as you are going through this process, take your time. This is a time to zen out and enjoy the lines and take the opportunity to make some fun choices about which colors you are going to use and experiment a little bit with the colors. So despite the fact that this clip is moving at an exponential bunny rabbit style pace, please take your time with these contour drawings, slow down, and enjoy the feeling of touching the different kinds of materials to the page.
Okay, so now that we've done our contour drawing and we've got our opposite colors, what you can do is you can do a couple of different things. If you do not have paint, you can come in and you can collect all of your opposite colors types that you have around the house. Anything will do, markers, Crayolas, etc. So then you would just color in the lines in any creative way you can come up with crayons or with markers. If you do have paints and you want to go that route, then you are going to take and do the opposite colors. If you have watercolors, great. If not, then you can kind of pretty much water down acrylics to get the same or a similar effect. If you guys remember from when we were doing watercolors, that a good trick of thumb is to actually maybe get your page a little bit wet first. Definitely keep a paper towel nearby so you can control the amount of water. Okay, because that amount of water is really going to make a huge difference. Like over here, that's pretty wet right now. Okay, so it depends on what kind of paper you're working with. And as always, this is my experiment paper. So if you're just working with basic computer paper, then experiment with it and see what it can do. This is a mixed media sketch pad that I'm working with right now. And so I know that I can just go ahead and mix right on the sketch pad. And I love that. That's kind of like that mixy, green, blue, etc. So I'm gonna come over here. And the great part about working with crayons and watercolors is that they give you resist. Okay, so that's probably plenty of water. I'm not too worried about staying in the lines on this, and that's another great part about it, where it doesn't really matter if you're limited in paintbrushes or size. I mean, you could almost, if you literally cannot find a paintbrush anywhere, you could almost do this with a paper towel and just kind of like dip that paper towel into the water, you know, and just kind of dab. There's even ways that you can turn old dried out markers into watercolors. So if you have a paper towel, some old dried out markers, and water, then you got this. So I suppose you could even do it with markers that aren't dried out. So now comes the fun part, where I'm gonna kind of experiment here and say, okay, wait a minute, which colors do I want to do where? So I'm gonna go with this nice kind of pale green up here, and I'm just gonna fill it in a little bit, and then in some spots I'm just gonna add in little bits of dark green, and not really caring if it goes in the lines or not. Maybe I'm gonna purposely let it kind of spill out a little bit like that, right? And then on to the next one, because everybody needs a friend, just like Bob Ross says. Here are two final pieces, and this one is definitely more the sort of like, I call it the categorical or pattern style. This one is more you're sort of arranging it in a composition, okay? And then you come in, and it's really important that you take and do some opposite colors or some contrasting colors, or sort of with some blue grays and then some purples, In here, I wanted to use greens and pale greens as the outline to sort of just think about kitchen and what do you do in the kitchen? You're cutting up greens, but then the actual silverware or the kitchen utensils a lot of times are silver, and that kind of concept. And here we've got the outlines, which just have this beautiful contrast onto these contour drawings of the leaves. So have some fun with this, and remember that you can use any materials you have at your house. You do not have to use watercolors. You can simply color these in and just kind of scrounge up some crayons, some highlighters, some pens, and I'm really looking forward to see what you can come up with creatively with what you do have at your home. So super excited for that. All right, thanks for arting with Anderson. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.